we are here to discuss something about three of the commodities, which is black Matpe, green mung beans, and Piegeon peas. Just to make up the lost time, I would straight away direct you to Mr. Sundar to briefly talk about black Matpe. Black Matpe, which is primarily produced and exported out of Myanmar. Thailand is another country which produced a very little quantity of black Matpe. So over to Mr. Sundar.
As you would see, like what Mr. Bangar had said, apart from India, Myanmar is the only country which produces sizable tonnage for export. And the total demand for black Matpe is about 1.6 million tons. Production in India is about 1.1 million tons. So Myanmar produces 500,000 tons. So out of this 500,000 tons, at least 80% goes to India, the balance 20% to Pakistan and UAE markets. Last year, 2011, there was a quality issue due to unseasonal rains. So there was a damage coming up to 7% in terms of quality, which in 2012, we don't have it and the quality is good. Carryover stock as of now is about 60,000 tons.
Mr. Sundar, you said carryover stock is about 60,000 tons. So do you think this stock consists of good quality, or there is some stock which is of inferior quality? Because last year I understand there was an issue of water damage in some of the production.
Yeah, mostly this is of the inferior quality only.
Sorry?
The inferior quality is
inferior quality. Okay, yeah. Gentlemen. I would like you to make a note of it. We'll come back on this issue again. Now, I wish our Mr. Sunil Patwari to throw some light on green mung beans. As we know, green mung beans is a product which is coming on from various origins, Myanmar, China, with various countries in Africa, Australia. So over to Mr. Sunil Patwari.
Good morning to everybody. For green mung bean, it is a very diversified commodity where it's very short crop and comes from many countries, but we'll be covering the major countries. We are looking at consumption of about 2.5 million tons among India, China and others. When we say others, it would be Japan, Taiwan, Malaysia and mainly Southeast Asian market for sprouting. So India consumption is close to 1.8 million tons, China about 500,000 tons, and there is others which is about 200,000 tons, which would be Japan, Taiwan, Malaysia and neighboring countries. Production wise, we are looking at India to be about 1.4 million tons. Myanmar exportable production is close to about 350,000. China about 500,000 tons. And Africa about 150, which is 125 to India and about 25 to 30 to other countries. Australia, what we understand, is about 30 to 40,000 metric ton. So we are looking at consumption and production close to 2.5. So we don't see major shortage or major surplus this year. So this is what we are looking at for green mung beans. Okay, fine. Mr. Patwari, you said Africa, they export about close to 125 to 150,000 tons. Since we have Mr. Jayesh Patel on dais, Mr. Jayesh Patel, would you like to give the breakup of this quantity from which countries in Africa mainly it is exported?
Thank you, Lalit. Morning to everyone. Africa, as far as the production is concerned, is around 150,000 tons. There is a hardly little consumption of the green mung happening domestically. Most of its cargo, what has been grown into the region, is exported to the various parts of the world. The major buyer for the green mung is the India, and obviously the Middle East and the part of the Southeast Asia, time to time that we export. Unlikely like other pulses, we have not seen much growth in a green mung because the demand of the green mung is not that significant like other pulses which is growing up. So if you look at the past 8 to 10 year history, the Africa has been quite consistent in terms of the production. Ethiopia, on an average, I would, just to clarify here, the figures which I'm talking is not grown, but is mainly exported out of the Africa. And Ethiopia is around 25,000 tons that they export annually. Kenya is around 35. When we talk about the Kenya, it is obviously combined together with Uganda. Uganda produces around 20,000 tons. So put together Kenya and Uganda, which is generally exported out of Mombasa, is around 50,000 tons. Mozambique produces around 30,000 tons. The Tanzania produces around 40,000 tons. These are the normal figures. If there is any change in the weather pattern, so far which we haven't heard so far. So it looks like that the total region, I think, coming year, which is the crop is now coming up, would be exporting between 125 to 150,000 tons. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Jayesh, you know, Africa is becoming gradually there is growing into a very important source for especially pigeon peas and green mung beans. So would you like to throw some light upon the efforts being made by the local government in Africa, and how do they really foresee this industry growing up, and you are a major player in that region? Can you just throw some light on this issue, that whether there are really a lot of land available for growing these production of these commodities, or what do you think where the future going to be?
Good. See, as far as pulses, one has to understand that pulses is grown, as you know, as a cross crop along with the maize. When the maize is being harvested, that's the time that they try to retain the nitrogen in a soil. So that's how the pulses has been traditionally grown. As far as the government is concerned, that the government has taken an initiative. Certainly, the most of the African countries are very poor. Government cannot afford the subsidy in a large scale as the developed countries, or maybe the country like India is offering to the farmers. Although all these countries, they have been trying, there is a very small budget of each country having around 50 to 80,000 tons of fertilizers budget annually. They have it. They have a targeted beneficiaries, which is the poorest among the poor. They cannot really give the subsidy to every single farmer. So the targeted budget, even if you look at the thing, the numbers are very small. So as far as government is concerned, the initiatives have been taken, but it is not to the extent which is required there. Pulses, my apology for that. Pulses, as far as the pigeon peas is concerned, certainly there is a big growth is coming up, because of the consumption in India is quite high compared to the mung. And I think the pigeon peas is concerned is there are two countries where India mainly depends, which is Myanmar and Africa. And as we have talked earlier in the couple of sessions, the African pulse, especially the pigeon peas, is now widely accepted in Indian market. The yield is also quite better. So the growth is there. Also the farmers are getting decent price. So that is the driving force, mainly driving force on commercial not of it. Otherwise on a government side, there are not actually any programs which is running on to expedite the growth.
Thank you, Mr. Jayesh, for that light. Now I would like Mr. Goenka to really touch upon one of the very important commodity, which is pigeon peas. Pigeon peas has not only a direct impact on standalone Myanmar or African origin, but it has got some related influence on green lentils, and it is get influenced by chickpeas to some extent. So let us hear from Mr. Goenka from Bombay.
Thank you, Bangarji. Good morning, everybody. Pigeon peas, it is normal name, but in trade it is used as a tur. In northern India it is known as a arad. In India, normally the acreage used is 4.42 million tons approximately, but this year the acreage was only 3.82 million ton, 8.2 million hectare. And normal production was about 2.5 million ton to 2.6 million ton. But this year, the production was about 1.7 million tons only. And that was the deficit was supplied by Myanmar and Africa. Myanmar supplying about 275,000 tons to 300,000 tons, and Africa supply about 200,000 tons. And India is a shortfall of about, by seeing these figures, is about 100,000 tons, and carryover is about 400,000 tons. Though the government announced the minimum support price for 2012 is 32,000 rupees per ton, but the present market is below than that, that is about 30,000 rupees.
Mr. Goenka, you said there is a minimum support price. Can you tell me what is the minimum support price as of now?
As of now, it is 32,000.
32,000.
Rupees,
And the market price is about
30,000 rupees.
30,000. So why doesn't the government go forward, and why don't the traders supply to the government? Can you please reply to this for the sake of our audience?
Normally, government used to import earlier and have a scheme to supply to the poor people, but from last maybe a year, they stopped buying further goods. And due to that, the local prices came down, and government support price is of no use.
Okay. Now, you said the acreage this year is down from 4.42 million to 3.86 million, and there is a shortfall in the quantity also. So what do you think? Why the Piegeon peas, which the whole world was looking at for last 2 months rather, I would say, and even in last conference in Mumbai, where even I was present there. So we all had foresighted that, okay, fine, forecasted the price of Piegeon pea is going to really go very high. So what do you think? What really went wrong? Can you please touch upon these very relevant questions which is coming on everybody's mind? And at the same time, when do you think the price should start moving up?
Actually, importer feels that the price should go up. Due to that, they are start importing continuously from January in a big quantity. But the carryover was so much, and the Myanmar prices came down, and apart from that, foreign exchange, the dollar terms is also so high, and the price never support. And the import from January to March from Myanmar itself, it is about 110,000 tons, and from Africa it is about 30,000 tons. So, but I feel that by May and June onwards, the price will go up surely in Piegeon peas.
Okay, we'll take audience view also later about their price perception. Mr. Sundar, you just now said that the black Matpe also there is a shortfall in between demand and the supply. It's about close to about 50,000 tons to 100,000 tons. What, again, the same question to you, what is that which is holding the prices at this level? Why the prices should not go up?
The first issue is the currency. Rupee has weakened at least by 12%, and we expect another 3-4% to go down. The other is that the PSU is not in the buying, which had a normal steady flow of cargo moving out of Myanmar. So the absence of PSU. The third would be is that the banks are not financing the local importers due to this kind of fluctuation in the prices.
Mr. Sunil, though green mung beans is a very vast subject, I would say. There are a lot of varieties, a lot of qualities. So maybe you would like to say something about green mung beans?
Basically, green mung is a commodity which is consumed more in Asia, but also in Europe, US, other parts. And the quality is also, there are too many varieties, and the price range also is too large. It's a very sensitive commodities. You know, generally, when we trade, we say that it's a very, you need to be very careful when you trade green mung. It's like you're choosing your life partner. The color, the size, the moisture, there are a lot of factors, unlike chickpeas and other commodities. So one has to be very, very careful.
So next time you choose your life partner, the color, size, moisture, these are 3 parameters which you mentioned. Yeah, next, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay. Mr. Jayesh, maybe, about the Piegeon peas also, can you please give the breakup of the production exports from respective countries?
Thanks, Bangar. Africa close to around 200,000 tons that they export. Out of that, Malawi and Mozambique combined, they export around 130 to 150,000 tons. Tanzania and Kenya is around 70 to 80,000 tons. Now the figures which I'm trying to combine, because there's a lot of influence of the cross-border trade is available, because Malawi being a landlocked country, certainly the all export out of Malawi is happening through the Mozambique, so it's sometimes difficult to, as we do not have a exact statistic data available in Malawi nor in the Mozambique. So we generally try to combine these two commodities coming out of Malawi and Mozambique, which is around 130, 140,000 tons. And the Tanzania and Kenya, once again, this is same scenario. They both the countries, they share the common border and also the growing area. And that's where the around 70 to 80,000 comes out of between Kenya and Tanzania. But all in all, in the normal years, they export around 200,000 tons together. The reason I'm referring to export only 200,000, because there is a domestic consumption is also there in Malawi and Mozambique, and obviously the Tanzania and Kenya, because there's quite a lot of Indian community also lives in East Africa. So I minus that part of the production, or maybe the part of the export, and that's where I've just given a brief about 200,000, which is annually that we export out of the 4 countries.
Total world export trade of these 3 commodities taken together, which is black Matpe, Piegeon peas and green mung beans, is about close to 1.9 million to 2.2 million tons. Black Matpe is primarily exported out of Myanmar, very less quantity from Thailand. Turhol, Piegeon peas from Myanmar and various African countries. Incidentally, last night somebody from Australia also was with me, and he was telling that maybe Australia may be coming up with the production of Turhol soon. So I'm not very sure about it, but maybe in a few years now down the line we'll see Piegeon peas from Australia as well. The prices, which is not really, the factor which is really affecting the prices to really go from going up in India or Indian subcontinent, is that one is very important, is the government has stopped buying under the tenders. Till the last year, the government was very active in buying through the tenders, close to about 200,000 to any quantity up to 400,000 tons. So in last 2 months, there was only one tender has come out, which is only for 2,000 ton of black Matpe. So this is certainly holding on to the prices from moving up in origin, though the less quantity being imported through tender route is a factor to push the prices up in destination. But unfortunately, it is holding on to the origin suppliers' mindset that the prices are not going to go up. So, and second is forex fund exchange rate. This is something very important, though we all know, but I would like to again emphasize on this particular factor. Foreign exchange rate, like as I was just saying this morning, the Indian rupee has gone down to as low as 52.84 per US dollar. Just before the Myanmar was closed for water festival about 12 days back, it was 51.4. So close to 3% depreciation or devaluation of Indian rupee in just last less than 2 weeks. It is certainly going to make a big impact on various regions, which is causing the market from going up. And second, one more factor about the Indian buyers' mentality is that most of them don't cover forward. Unfortunately, though we all people are supposed to be professional here, but still this mentality is non-professional approach, that they don't cover their forward exchange exposure, which is really landing them in this problem. This is another reason for the demand or the prices not coming up from Indian subcontinent. So this is not applicable only for these commodities. It is applicable for yellow peas, chickpeas, or any other commodities which is really coming into these Indian subcontinents. Lastly is the quality issue, of course. The black Matpe had some quality issues last year, like we had faced in red lentils the year before last. So these are the factors which I feel that really holding on to the prices from moving up. But as Mr. Goenka said that going forward in April or May, in May or June, I think the prices of Turhol should go up. Sundar feels that black Matpe also should go up. And Mung means Mr. Patwari mentioned that there's various types, so you have to really watch for them. Now, I may request the guys to raise any questions, please. The mic, you can give them. Yeah.
There.
Mic. You may just introduce your name and company and then location.
I'm SP Agarwal from CB Impacts, Calcutta. I want to know from Goenka ji, he said from May markets for tour should go up. Is there any basis of it or it's just the speculation?
The basis that by seeing the figure of production and import figure, we'll find about 800,000 tons is shortfall in pigeon peas. Due to carryover, the prices are not increased, but now everything is using in India. And I think by May, the demand will become more and more from May onwards. So the price will go up.
But yes, this is one issue which we all have to really take it very strongly with ourselves, that the forex hedging is must. The foreign exchange, especially when the volatility is so huge, because you can see 1.5 to 2% intraday. So, but this is unfortunately, as I said, and it is more so in Indian subcontinent. It is not in India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. And when you would be amazed to know, of course, these days this factor has really been overcome to a great extent, but they were hardly any insurance of the cargo. It might be eye-opening for you, but if I take 10 years back situation, people used to save the insurance premium cost, not without realizing that it could be really fatal for them. So yes, second issue is that the forward premium charged by the bank is also is not as less as it is in other part of the world. In India, they have very strong rate, high rate of the forward covered. So this also holding them back. Okay, why should I cover? How low the dollar may go? Maybe another 50 paisa or maybe 1 rupee. That works out to 1%, 2%. Fine, I'm okay. Knowing well, they know the risk. At least they started realizing the risk now, because and second, now since you touch upon it, I was not about to tell that, but they are taking the buyer's credit for 6 months. So let's say some cargo which has come in the month of this November or December, for that their invoice is getting due for payment now. That is also remain unhedged. So you can imagine it is not the spot deliveries which is getting affected, but even the cargo which they have bought 6 months back or 5 months back, which they might have taken costing of say 48 or 49 or whatever, but now they are paying through their nose at 52.84. So this is one of very important reason which a lot of our people in this conference are not really making a point that why the price are not going up, why the demand is not coming up, because they are financially they're in a tight situation. So thanks for that. You touched on a very nice, relevant point. Any more question? This side? No? Okay, fine. So without any further ado, I would like to thank my panelist who was here to really touch upon a lot of relevant factors. I hope that you all would have benefited to some extent. Thank you. Thank you all.